What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Avarice Podcast. Tonight we're going to be doing another movie commentary. Surprise, surprise. We're going to be going back to the beginning, which is also the end in a weird way. We're going to watch Halloween 2018. I know some of you guys are thinking, Devin, you smoked yourself retarded. You've already done Halloween 2018. It was your first podcast. I'm aware of that, folks. I am giving it a second effort because, one, that was my first ever podcast, and I wasn't very comfortable yet. You can tell just right off the bat on that one. I'm stammering, I sound nervous, I sound like I'm choking on my words. I didn't really have any idea how to do it, and it took me a good probably 20-30 minutes just to kind of get into the groove and get comfortable speaking. Then there was also the fact that that was only the second or third time I had ever seen Halloween 2018, and it was prior to me going through the beginning of the franchise with such a discriminating eye. I used to watch the Halloween movies all the time, but I wasn't observing and reporting. I was just watching, and so I wasn't necessarily holding the microscope up to the content in the same way, or trying to look for continuity issues in the same way. So I feel like I did Halloween 2018 a bit of an injustice by not being as aware as I could have of all the content prior to it. I'm excluding Halloween 3, however, because I've still never seen it, and it has no effect or bearing on the franchise one way or another, other than disappointing a shitload of people back when it came out. That's probably the... I know that there's a cult following for Halloween 3, but let's be honest, that's the big fuck up the ass of the franchise. Like, how do you do that? Anyway, so I'm going to be revisiting Halloween 2018. I'm going to do my best to not repeat myself. I honestly don't remember everything that I said back in the other one. I know that I'm probably going to be speculating on the upcoming sequel more than I did when I was watching the last time. I'm going to try to make the visual component for the YouTube audience a little more compelling, a little better. It's still going to be still images mostly of things related to what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to go with higher quality ones and coordinate what I'm saying with the image on screen better. Just try to up my game, make it more presentable. I'm not sure if I'm going to delete the other one or not. I think I already said that too. You know I smoke weed, right? Okay. I'm seated at the coffee table now. I'm going to take a couple of hits, and then we will start the show. I'm not going to go back and revisit every single movie in the whole franchise. I should have watched them in order instead of starting with this one first. But it was the newest one. I thought that maybe people would be more interested in hearing the commentary for it than hearing it for the 1978 John Carpenter one. And I got greedy for views, I'll be honest. I thought that I was going to capitalize on a point in time and be able to garner some attention. And that was probably misguided. So now I'll be able to come at it having the library of Halloween knowledge that I've acquired over the course of studying all of them. And maybe I'll have a different perspective. We'll see. I'll probably do this with the most recent Friday the 13th movie as well, because I also mistakenly did that. I mean, it wasn't a mistake. I knew that it was the newest movie in the franchise. I just didn't think that it was going to be necessary for me to watch the previous ones, given that it was a reboot or a remake. But I think that was probably a mistake, and the commentary was more just kind of off the cuff shit instead of being guided towards like Friday the 13th lore, etc. Okay, if you are going to watch along, get your shit ready, and I'm about to start the countdown. Okay, I'm pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. Play ball. They want you to say grace. The blessing. Grace died 30 years ago. When did you move into a new house? They didn't move into a new house. Christmas Vacation, so good. So does this Halloween sequel evoke such mixed emotions like many of the other ones did? I thought they knocked the shit out of the park. I thought it was a little fan servicey. Maybe they could have stuck their neck out on the line a little bit more. They might have played it too safe. But also, returning after that huge gap, you got to come with a solid entry, especially if you want to get sequels, so I understand it. I think all the major marks were hit. I love it. I ranked the entire franchise recently. That's up on my channel. And I put this one at number 3. Or was it number 4? No, it was number 3. I had the original one first, Halloween 2 second, this one third, Halloween 4 fourth. See, I just spoiled the video. Now you don't even need to go to watch it. Shows you how good I am at advertising and marketing. So the one kind of odd decision that they made in this that I don't fully understand, because it doesn't seem like they exercised that choice fully, they decided to go back and make this a sequel to the original Halloween instead of making it a sequel to Halloween 2. I think that if it was a sequel to Halloween 2, it would play out basically this exact same way. I don't know that anything would need to be changed, except for you would have to figure out, I guess, how he survived that explosion. Maybe that's what they were trying to avoid. They were also trying to avoid it, Laurie being Michael's sister for some reason. So this is basically Halloween 2 reimagined. And Laurie is not supposed to be his sister, the Jamie Lee Curtis character. However, he pursues her and her family as if he's still doing the familial connection thing. So I don't know what purpose it served to come out and announce, we're going to ignore Halloween 2 and all this shit about him and her being related. And then the movie plays out exactly the same. Cui bono. And the other weird decision is that it takes away from a lot of the aura and the infamy of Michael to roll it all the way back to Halloween 1. He only killed 5 people in Halloween 1, including Judith. So that's not as notorious. The stats aren't there. You know what I mean? It doesn't. The fans know what kind of weight the shape carries, the Michael Myers character carries, because we've been following along with it all these years. But if you were to just watch Halloween 1 and then skip to this one, I don't know if his acts that he commits in that movie are of a great enough magnitude to warrant such a lasting lore like they're trying to sell. I don't know that there would still be this many people interested. I mean, it's been 40 fucking years he's been locked up. You'd probably throw away the key and think you're good. And I'm not trying to question it from a point of, you know, I love this movie. It's just analyzing the decisions that are made. I think that having Halloween 2 added in there would really, it ups the cachet of Michael. But you do have to get into like a kind of weird superhuman aspect and explain how he survived being shot in the eyeballs and that explosion. So I guess I could go both ways about it. But someone who murders 5 people, doesn't speak a word's been locked up for 40 years. I guess if you're into true crime podcasts and shit, you're digging deep because you got to come up with content. So it's not totally outside the realm of possibility, but it does seem a bit overboard if we're scaling it back to only the workload that he handled in Halloween 1. Just being honest. It also seems a bit far-fetched that these podcasters with no credentials, seemingly, would get back here to talk to Michael. I'm not a fan of the Dr. Sartain character, but I understand that they needed a liaison between the hospital and the outside world, because Michael doesn't speak. And then we eventually find out later he actually helps Michael escape. This guy's hipstered the fuck out. It's a beautiful messenger bag, though. One continuity issue I noticed that it's okay, I suppose, but you can clearly tell the mask he's holding up right now is not the mask that Michael is wearing later. It's in way better condition. It doesn't look like the same mask at all. And the way that they're allowing him to... this would be evidence in murders from 40 years ago. This would be in a police locker somewhere. And it would be deteriorated as fuck. The idea that this podcaster, who has no authority and no I was going to say esteem, I don't think that's correct. Maybe. Would be able to have this mask. It creates an effective scene. Your senses are on fire right now. It's building the tension well. I just don't like the way that he's treating this mask, shoving it in his messenger bag and shit. You need to respect, motherfucker. It builds up to the fucking crescendo, and when that score hits, you want to come all over yourself. You'd come all over someone else if you could get them to come into your cabin, but you know how it goes. Oh my god. You just start a fucking mosh pit in the movie theater when this plays. And I like the effect that they did, because in my opinion, the opening scene, the credit scene from Halloween 2 is the best one, where the pumpkin separates and turns into the skull. But this one, it's like they're taking this franchise that is just aged and unkempt and deteriorated and putrid, and they're putting it in the reverse microwave, and they're bringing it back to life and resurrecting it to its vintage, pristine form. They're like restoring a classic automobile. And they're subtly telling us that at the beginning here with the symbolism of the classic pumpkin with the kitchen knife-shaped nose coming back into shape. Look at that pristine motherfucker. I feel like they made the nose slit more exaggerated and obvious than it used to be. Of course, that's all done digital. That all done digital. They brought so many of the original pieces back for this. They had Danny McBride to add a little bit of comedy into it, which I didn't mind. Overall, I thought it was very well done. I could have done with a little bit less fan service, though, and a little bit more kind of newish content. But that's just me personally. And I'm also younger than the hardcore OG day one fans. That's like my parents' generation. So if you've been a fan of these movies your entire life, like if you went and saw the original in the theater in '78, I suppose that level of fan service you would almost feel you were due and you would enjoy. Oh, they're arriving at Laurie Strode's compound. And I love what they've done with the Laurie Strode character in this. Journalists don't pay for interviews. Well, we're not journalists, are we? Hello? Do you have any Grey Poupon? I'm looking for Ace Ventura. And a clean pair of shorts. Oh, it's Ray Finkel, not Ace Ventura. What the fuck?
We're making a podcast.
You expect that old ass lady to know what a fucking podcast is? That girl podcaster is cute. She's got like that. She's not gonna be a supermodel, but she's got like that. I work at the library, or I'm your secretary, or just nice girl next door, gonna make a good soccer mom someday. She's just got that look to her, like that reliable, solid wife material look, like low key sexy. I could handle it. I really could. Oh, Laurie, I love the setup, but could you taken some time to make it a little less rickety looking? God damn. Looks like the barns in the town I grew up. I swear to God, people would just go to a condemned house and start ripping wall paneling and doors off and make their barn out of it. She's prepared, though. God damn it. I love that she's prepared. Like, you see so many of these final girls in future movies, and it's like, oh, she moved out to the country and she got a dog, but she still got a house that's all floor-to-ceiling windows. She doesn't own a gun. There's no security system. Like, she doesn't have a police scanner. Like, there's no reaction to the fear or preparation for the doom that they assume is coming. So I really fucking dig that about this character. Plus, of course, it was 2018. We're going with the strong women imagery. So it just fits right in there.
There are no new insights or discoveries.
That would be truly disappointing if it were true, Jamie. I flip-flop back and forth between calling her Laurie and Jamie, and I should stop doing that because Jamie is a character in the fucking franchise. You should give me my money back because this is no fucking interview at all. I'm paid for the attempt.
And he came up to you. You just want to know why. You want a glimpse inside his mind. That's why you're so...
That dude's got that weird color facial hair where it's like a rust oranged, blonde, white. You can't really decide what color it is. If a little kid drew that on a picture, he'd be like, that looks like shit, bro. But you can see that it actually works on him.
And he's a human being. You need to understand. But twice divorced.
He's not a machine. He's a man. I don't think I've ever realized how cute that, quote, journalist is. She's not bad either, but he's something else. He's actually the, I just figured this out recently. He is Jon Arryn's squire in the first episode of Game of Thrones, and he gets murdered jousting by the mountain. Boom. Ha ha! I always hate that when he says they met with him. Like they sat down in a conference room and there was bagels and lox and they negotiated a contract. He was chained up outside and you walked up behind him and yelled at the back of his head. For all you know, he doesn't even know you were there. I mean, it would be pretty much impossible for him to not know, but he didn't acknowledge you in any way, shape, or form. I don't consider that meeting. Does he know your name? Did you shake hands? Did you get close enough to notice the scar on his neck? Did you lick it? She didn't get the money yet? You gotta get that fucking money before you let him in the door, girlfriend. Exercise your game. I guess you do have this compound shit. They'd probably be intimidated. They wouldn't want to, you know, try anything. But you gave them the product, and you didn't get paid yet. They're not incentivized to pay you now.
Morning. I rescheduled my last session so I can make it tonight. You really didn't have to do that.
Cool. Did you call Grandma like I asked you to 40 fucking times? Dad, you're the least masculine, generic father ever. I mean, he's a couple of comedy spots, but they seem to go out of their way to make him a weak fuck. Like, he's basically inconsequential to the story. He's just another person that can get killed and, like, an extra person to be involved in the Karen-Lori struggle. And he makes these jokes. You got guns and you're high. That is how you feel when you're a teenager and some, like, your parents or grandparents start talking to you about stuff like that. You're just like, will you fucking shut up?
My grandmother, like you said you would. About tonight.
It's crazy how the younger generation always thinks the older generation's view is so fucking skewed. But it's never maintained. Like, the new crop always changes their... It's...
Maybe she's agoraphobic.
I'm realizing it as I get older that, like... Because when I was a kid, I'd always be like, everybody my age thinks this way, and older people think that way. And then we're going to be older, and then, but I didn't realize that the younger kids were going to think a different way, and that there was still going to be collisions. I guess that's just the nature of life. This fucking dipshit. I hate this guy. That stupid fucking outfit. This Aztec tribal fleece flannel jacket. His Uncle Buck hat. His shoulder canteen fanny pack man purse thing. His dumbass new age desk scribble tattoo. I'm very happy when he gets murdered. He doesn't really add enough to the movie. He needs to add a little bit more. See, that line right there is really the only part of the film where they indicate in any way, shape, or form that Lori is not related to Michael. And if you don't catch it, you don't know. My family, I was over there for the 4th of July, and this was on cable. And, we started talking about it, and I brought up that Lori's not his sister in this movie. And nobody else there knew that. They all had seen this movie. They all thought it was pretty good. None of them caught that she wasn't supposed to be his sister in this. So they didn't do an effective job of conveying it to the audience. And then their execution thereafter, like I said before, it plays out exactly like she is his sister. So what's the fuck? What the fuck? Like, when I was first starting to watch these movies, I was already aware, or became aware very quickly, that there was this family thing. And so that just became applied across the entire franchise for me. Because I came into it, you know, 5, 6 movies had already been made. So by the time I watched the first one, to me, in my mind, she was his sister. I never watched the first one from the perspective, fresh perspective, not knowing or thinking that they were related. So a lot of people are of that same mindset. So you almost have to convince them that in the first one she wasn't his sister. Because 1 and 2 are so kind of seamless, they feel like the same movie, and 2 is where that got brought up because Carpenter had to figure out how to extend this story, and he got a bit lazy, frankly. I I said that, and my dad was like, well, they just hadn't said it yet. Like, he cannot, in his mind, grasp the concept that they're not family. Like, that they're inseparable to him. So, again, I just felt like it was a weird decision, and the execution thereafter was curious, given the decision. This is the recreation of Laurie's scene from the original when she's sitting in there and the teacher's giving the speech about fate. But in the original, the speech is that fate is concrete. It's an element. It's immovable. It's part of nature, like fire. But in this one, they've adapted it to where fate is malleable. Like, you can change your fate. And you too can know happiness. So she gives so few shits. She got that $5,000 and she just gave it away to her granddaughter. She's just out there in the woods in her compound, doesn't give a fuck. What she has is all she needs. But she's kind of antisocial. And I'm kind of that way. If somebody's not directly in front of me, I just forget to keep up with them. And like, if I don't see you every once in a while, months, maybe a year will go by where I don't talk to you, and it's not because I do it on purpose. I just don't think of it. It just doesn't get in there, and it makes me feel bad when I finally realize it, but I don't know how to stop it. I wonder why she does this kind of secluded, away from her family thing. I know that her daughter got taken away from her when she was younger, but does she feel like she is putting them in danger by proxy? Does she not feel comfortable being intimate with anybody? It seems like she could have this paranoid psychosis and still be more a part of the family. Have them come over to your house or always be strapped. I don't know. So this is a tape they have. I like this Loomis being worked in. So this is supposed to be an audio recording of Loomis from, I think they said 79, saying that he doesn't think that Michael can be rehabilitated and that he should be killed and incinerated, and Loomis would want to see the ashes before he would believe that the evil was gone from here. Okay. So, how did the eye get fucked up? He didn't get shot in the eyes, according to this movie. They removed that from the storyline. So, if you remember, when she takes his mask off in the first one, he's got like a fucked up eyelid. And we never get explained really why that is. It's a makeup effect. They actually put it on there for a reason, even though we only see his face for like a second. They did that for a reason. It would have had to have happened while he was incarcerated the first stint when he was a kid, I suppose. That never really gets addressed. But they did a good job of adding the damage to his neck that's also on the mask. She's in her car chugging mini bottles of booze like a corrupt judge. I've heard some people argue that she actually causes the accident here as a way of relieving her tension and anxiety. She's just going to cause the face-off to happen. And I think that that's plausible. So I don't know. See, that scene there bothers me, where she screams and it looks like there's the inferno and the shape walking towards her, because that looks like she's having a nightmare remembering the end of number 2, which didn't happen in this storyline. It's very confusing for people. I got it. Like, I wish that they had just not addressed that. I don't know. Like, he still has the Anyway, so Karen told her daughter that she invited the grandma, but she did not. Except we're putting a 2018 twist on it. We're going as transvestite Bonnie and Clyde. We're keeping the same pronouns though, so don't worry.
Did you talk to your grandmother?
You're about to be playing a gotcaught.com right now, Karen. Oh.
It was nice.
I wonder if they're going to work the boyfriend into the sequel, because we never find out what happened to him in this version. And there's a deleted scene where he gets arrested outside the school dance. So it's kind of open-ended what they could decide to do with him. We really don't have any idea where they're gonna... Is it gonna pick up exactly where this one leaves off? There's a rumor that they're going to film back-to-back movies and have a trilogy.
Quit drinking. Mom, what are you doing?
I'm very curious to see how this plays out.
Exactly why we don't reach out. Mom.
I fucking hate the boyfriend character in this.
I will sit down.
Okay. Why don't we press the reset button? Why don't you just start over, okay?
Let's start by doing something with your hair. It's a little bit wild. You do own a mirror, right, Grandma? The granddaughter is getting a perspective here, though, because she has felt the void that was left by the lack of a grandmother. She has been emotionally damaged by the absence of her grandmother. But when you actually see her breaking down in front of you, trying to deal with these demons in this way, like just struggling to be a part of life, you understand that it wasn't about you. It was about them. Like, they weren't doing it to be mean to you. You weren't even in the equation. It's that hard for them to make it through a day, let alone worry about what you're doing. And you always secure your own oxygen mask before you worry about others. Survival is the first law of nature. So, is it kind of shitty? Yeah, but I think everybody worked out okay. They're all alive. But you can see how broken up she is about this shit. Granted, this is the day that he's getting transferred or moved, and she, quote, saw him, although I don't know how she would have. And it's been 40 years. Would she know exactly what he looks like? He's got gray hair now. Looked like he's got a bit of scruff. This scene's kind of bullshit, because her daughter is like 16 or 17, and she's never told her why she got taken away from the grandma, why they don't talk, how crazy she is. She's never explained any of this. No wonder the granddaughter just thinks that the grandma is avoiding her and an emotionless bitch.
Trying to get over the paranoia.
And if you were going to have this conversation, I don't think you would do it standing curbside waiting for your husband to bring the car around after you leave a fucking restaurant. Like, it seems like there's a little bit more back and forth question and answer situation that needs to happen here. And maybe a glass of wine by a fireplace. Like, it just feels real forced in there. Like, I think that as an audience, we assumed that she knew the backstory. So it's a bit insulting almost to throw it right in the middle of the movie like this and be like, here's the first time she told her daughter about how rough her childhood was. Women talk. They connect emotionally. They're better at being intimate. They would have that shit hammered out.
I really love spending time with you, but right now dancing is my thing, you know.
This kid with the cracking voice, he's the youngest person Michael's ever killed, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I have mixed emotions for sure. I also feel like they mixed that dance thing in there. It's kind of funny, but I also feel like they put it in there to be divisive. Like, they wanted people to be mad that, oh, this fucking kid's doing dance, what a pussy. And then they wanted the people who think that that's hate speech or disagree with that to yell back and start an argument. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, the time we live in, everything starts a fucking argument. So maybe that's just the perspective I'm looking at it through. But I feel like that was added in there just so that people would argue. It could have been anything else that he wanted to do instead of fish with his dad. And there could have been, I'm sure there were options that would be funny. I can't think of any offhand. But to make it specifically dance is so that some of the fake alphas in the crowd can yell out, "That's gay shit." And then some liberal arts professor can stand up and say, "You're a bigot," but not be able to defend themselves when the ass clown gets up and wants to fight. Like, I just feel like it's put in there to cause that. Anyway, back to the beautiful vintage Ford Bronco. We're not talking the really dope vintage ones, like right before they went defunct and stopped making them for a while. That era. I do dig that this kid knows how to handle a rifle. Cheap jump scare. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh, I mistimed it. I do that with my wife all the time. Luckily, we were married before she found out. That's not true. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Run! I think it's hilarious that the kid tells him to stay there, too. I don't think he can fucking move. He looked dead 2 seconds ago. Stay there. Don't come any closer. I might shoot. I love your adventurous spirit, kid, but maybe don't do as much investigating. Just sit in the locked car. Well, there's one good thing that came of it. You wounded Sartain. You winged him. He's clipped now. Should have shot him in the fucking head and saved us some trouble later on. We'd still have Hawkins. We wouldn't have got that bullshit copycat scene. Fucking with my emotions. Okay, so the kid does run back to the car and get in, and Michael's already in there. Sort of leaving Michael no choice but to kill him. But why didn't Michael just hop in the driver's seat and take the fuck off? Why was he sitting in the back seat, all low-key, waiting for somebody to come back? But if... Don't even ask, just bring it. If she's not his sister in this, then we're, I guess, supposed to assume that he just kills at random. They do mix a little bit of that in. There's a lot of the kills make less sense. He's just kind of doing them. There's also the fact that he left Sartain alive on the bus and got off. He was fucking, and he doesn't fuck with the patients in any of them, right? Is there any of them where he murders a patient other than Laurie in Resurrection? Are those all guards? Because in the first one, he just opens the gates and they all start wandering around. I think he does it partly as a diversion and an obstacle that the Loomis is going to have to deal with. Same here. He did it so that a car would stop so that he could get a transportation because he's very good at night. I like that kill's not over the top gory either. That's scary enough. He broke their fucking neck. Clean. We don't need exploding blood and guts everywhere. It's more plausible. Granted, Michael's 61 years old, but did he escape? Wannabe Albert Einstein looking motherfucker. Mustachio. Hey, bigotes. So they're gonna go peep the Judith Myers tombstone. So they're basically doing a podcast just summarizing the contents of the first movie. And so it's this walk down memory lane for the hardcore fans, and the vehicle is these podcasters as they kind of record the different elements that are going to comprise their true crime podcast about Michael Myers. And Michael's back there behind a tree watching them in this very obvious stance. The only thing hidden behind the tree is his head, which is audience service so that we don't see his face, because you know how we feel about that. But he's dressed in all white. He clearly looks like he just escaped a mental hospital. They embellish the murder here, and I don't dig that at all. The way that he describes it is more provocative and gruesome than it actually was. And he makes it sound like she fought back. She did not fucking fight back. And maybe the worst part of it is that they're showing you a replay of the original scene while he incorrectly describes what's happening. So even if you don't remember what it looked like, you can fucking see it in front of your face.
Still no idea what really went down.
Gonna take my horse to the Halloween road. I love the Hawkins character. God damn it. What is his name? Bill, fuck. Anyway, so this is supposed to be a follow-up to the original. The original, Michael fell out the balcony, got up, and dipped. And Loomis went down there and he was gone. So this movie goes ahead and explains that Laurie was going to kill, or Loomis was going to kill Michael, and Hawkins stopped them and arrested him, and he's been locked up ever since. See that Bronco pull up? This right here, that's Michael. You've seen a little bit too much of his face. I didn't notice that on the previous commentary. And this weird church lady, there's always got to be this kind of oddball, local, semi-transient, crazy person who seems to have some knowledge that the other person doesn't have. This seems to be aware that there's impending doom. I don't like that. I don't like the suggestion that there's people like connected to the force field of Michael and they're aware when he arrives that it's going to be a problem. Did she just move her eyes like that because... Where's the loo? Oh, Michael's already gotten out and he's murdering the mechanic in there. I got you. Before he comes in here and makes her shit her pants. When I make chili dogs, I cut the hot dog in half and I put one half on each side of the bun. And then I cover it with chili and I eat it with a fork. So that I've got hot dog on both sides. It's an equal distribution of... I want an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin. Anyway, so I split the hot dog like that. When Michael comes in here and drops those teeth on the other side of the door, if she's wearing a thong, I imagine that she shit herself and split that turd right in half, just like I do my hot dogs when I eat chili dogs. She seems to be just sitting on the toilet. She doesn't wipe or even pull up her pants. She's just ready to run, but she's just sitting there. It's kind of a peculiar... Like, she doesn't have her pants pulled down or anything, as far as we can tell. And I don't believe she takes a moment to, like, get herself together, tighten up her corset before she tries to slide underneath the stall. Isn't this the women's bathroom? Those are definitely men's boots. I find offense to that. Women can wear those boots too. Sorry, I had some dental work done and I'm a little groggy. Yeah, wisdom teeth pulled. Lost all my knowledge along with them. So Michael stole the coveralls, but he didn't leave his clothes. He has the hospital get up on underneath. At least he left the guy his underwear and undershirt. And some dignity. Tooth Fairy's come to collect. You owe me like $5 grand. He's the Tooth Fairy and she's the Tooth... Oh, she does pull her skirt up there, or her pants up there, very quickly. There must be some elastic waist joints or something. He's gonna smack her head on the toilet seat, which hurts like a... Oh, Jesus. This bathroom is fucking disgusting. Nobody scrubbed those toilets for a long time. They got like that, that tan film, that veil of failure just around the interior of the porcelain. Ooh, solid crowbar shot. You didn't play baseball. No, you're from... did you play cricket? I guess they swing underhand in cricket. I feel like you could have done better with that crowbar. I know Michael is of a subhuman nature, or superhuman nature, rather. But I feel like if you gave me one good shot with a crowbar to anybody, I feel like I'd be able to hit them hard enough to at least knock them off their feet, knock them out cold. It's a fucking crowbar. Not a good weapon for tangling with Michael, though. I've addressed this before. It's too heavy, and it's got a long length. It's hard to wield. You're going to need to not swing that fucking thing until you're positive that you're going to hit him. Because if you miss, it's going to take you way too long to recoil and prepare to strike again. He's going to nab you in the meantime. You're going to be fucked. So hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your babies, because they out here raping. Run, tell that. Home, 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 boy. I love this. I feel like they kind of borrowed or stole the really dramatic scene in Rob Zombie's Halloween where he breaks the mask out of the floor and it has that slow motion of him putting it on and it's like he's reached his final form. He's Super Saiyan now. That was of a similar effect. And it's audience service, but it's got that dramatic... How Michael gets his mask is usually a fairly interesting story. Some of the movies just completely ignore it. We were actually watching this part at my family's for 4th of July, and my dad goes, "What are you watching? How to Get Away with Murder?" I was like, no, it's Halloween. He's like, it looks like How to Get Away with Murder. Seriously. And I didn't particularly understand what he was hitting at, but it was funny to me. Jammin' Crib, yo. Looks like it's in Southeast Portland. Your husband's just outside pretending to do masculine things, while your mom is inside doing masculine things. I don't mean that your mom's having sex. She's about to fuck you, though.
Ray?
Oh! You got granite countertops, motherfucker? How come the island's black, but all the cabinetry's white?
Is anyone home?
Is one of them evil and one of them good? Spy versus spy kitchen? Hey, I found this Carhartt jacket at Goodwill. Doesn't it make me look distinguished? It looks like I earned this discoloration, right?
What are you doing in our house?
I mean, how did I get into your house? You have no security system. Your side window is wide open. Sometimes I can't see the difference.
Her trauma, though, was living through you being her mother. She didn't experience any of the Michael Myers shit. It's not real to her in the same way that it's real to you. She hasn't felt the terror on that level. She's not motivated by it like you are. So once she separated from you,
This house until you get it.
I have tried to protect
she dropped all those habits.
you. Now we have to hunt him down.
To her, it's a fake threat. It's not real. It happened one time 40 years ago. It's, well, I guess technically it happened one time 40 years ago and another time 15 years before that, or 16 years, 17 years before that. I don't remember exactly. But if we're erasing her being his sister, he killed his actual sister for sure. Judith was his sister. You can't ignore that fact. He did kill one of his sisters at least, or the only one we know for sure he had. And then when he got out, he just latched on to Lori for some reason and then killed her friends and tried to kill her. There wouldn't be any reason to think that he was immediately going to try to pursue her if he did get out. Because he only did that one day. She wasn't involved in the first night when he murdered his other sister. It hasn't been a repetitive thing. But to the audience it has, because there's Halloween 1, Halloween 2, H2O, and Resurrection, where he's coming after her in all of them. And it appears to have the familial connection. So I think it's just really hard to remove that from people's minds when they enter this. Only people who've never seen a Halloween movie... Well, no, that won't even work. I don't know who it's for. We're going to get the beautiful fucking tracking shot, though. I love the score. I love the score. Halloween has the best score in any horror movie. Of all horror movies and franchises, it has the best score. I would say it's one of the best scores of any movie. Just because it fits so fucking perfect. It gets you jacked. And it's so unique and trademark. I feel like I could fight a bitch or two. I want to go running right now. Throw bows. Oh, I thought that was a porno for a second. It sounded like it was. See, if this was the 80s, there would have been girls in leotards dancing on there. Let's get physical, physical. Heard you needed some nailing. Can I hammer you for a minute? Think he is relaxed and comfortable. This is a high-end knife, motherfucker. I didn't know you could afford this. You get this off the Home Shopping Network? You did? Oh my God. Why are you over here making a sandwich when you got a crying baby? Babies don't eat fucking sandwiches. Your old ass ain't have no baby. Where's the mama at? You breastfeeding this little motherfucker? He sounds like he's starving and you look like you ain't got no titties. How you gonna breastfeed me, Mom? You ain't got no tits. Alright, well, I'm gonna leave him. Somebody needs to feed him. He ain't gonna eat this fucking sandwich. Shit. I think I missed the part where it had the Halloween 3 masks. My dad. But we're about to see one of my all-time favorite Halloween costumes. I said that to my wife. I said, no, that's a Halloween costume. And she said, what was it, a nurse? And I said, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It could be anything. It could be a nurse, it could be a pirate, it could be a barmaid. I'm just going for like a general shape and look. She took it in good spirits. We joke around like that. She doesn't think everything's offensive. Like this right here. Ooh, I love that shot. It's like a retake on the appearing out of the dark in the closet. When Michael came out of the closet and tried to kill Lori in the original. But this is like what I was talking about earlier. This kill doesn't really make any sense. Why does he decide to go kill her? He walks up on her fucking porch and looks through the window like to make sure somebody's home. Walks all the way around the back of the house and comes up and he's gonna kill her right here in front of us in this window. We don't know who this bitch is. He doesn't know, like, she was on the phone. She didn't even, there's no reason. He just does it. And I think that they were going for that because it makes it scarier. That's why they wanted there to not be the family thing. They feel like it taps into people's fear more so if he's just killing anybody because it makes you feel vulnerable. Whereas before it was like, well, I'm not related to Michael, so as long as I stay out of the blast radius, I'm going to be good. This little fat boy bitch friend is kind of annoying too. Wannabe poon hound. He wants to be the cool guy so hard, but he just can't. He's like a really bad version of Stu from Scream. Like, picture somebody like Stu being there, and it'd be so much better. Really, I'm trying to think. Most of the characters in this that are guys aren't that great. Except for him. This little black kid's fucking hilarious. I mean, Michael's good. And Hawkins is good. Sartain, I guess, suits his purpose. I didn't like the choice. But that doesn't mean that he was bad. But the boyfriend sucks. His friend sucks. The dad is kind of like, eh. Kids know way more than you think they do. You can't make little fucking super obvious references like that. Like, you think you're making a joke, but it's so overt that a foreigner would know that you changed your inflection and something was different there. However old this kid is, you gotta expect him to pick up on shit like that. Just say he was gonna bring something over and we were gonna bake it, or like, you gotta be a little smoother than that.
Well, I'm gonna tell your mom about your browser history. You better not.
He's clipping his fucking toenails.
He used to be my favorite. He was like my 10th favorite boy that I nannied. And I babysit some fucking loser kids.
I wish I had a babysitter like this. She's cute, but she's firm. She's willing to get real with you. She cusses. Yeah, you feel like you could break each other's balls. That's what's up. One time I had a babysitter that was like too close to me in age, and it felt weird. It was like I was getting on the border of being too old to need a babysitter, and she had like just reached the age to be able to babysit. And it's like, it feels more like we're peers than you should be an authority figure over me. And we might
I know why you're actually my favorite kid.
I think she was like 12 and I was like 10. But I was attracted to her. I'm not going to lie. I've steady been barking up the tree like that. It's no secret. This was me when I was a little kid. Even if I didn't watch the scary movie, just if I knew that my dad was watching a scary movie in the other room, it would be occupying my thoughts. The worst is taking the fucking garbage out. Especially when I got a little bit older and we moved out to the country. It gets pitch black dark in the country. There's no street lights or anything. There's no light pollution. It's just stars and dark. And we had a fairly big property, and the garbage cans were all the way at the end of the driveway. So it was like a 5-10 minute jaunt to take the garbage out. I was fucking terrified every single time. Of course, your parents make you feel safe, but if you're with them. But there was no reason for the whole family to take a vacation out to the garbage can. Yeah, well, you just don't blow up my spot. I don't understand why she's giving him shit for drinking. It's not the most responsible behavior, but it's like a special occasion. They're out at this dance. But the making out with the other chick thing and then trying to play it off like nothing happened and she's making this all up. And he's going to throw her phone into this nacho cheese bowl here, which is the unforgivable sin part. Like, if this was two guys and he just threw the guy's phone in that nacho cheese, the next thing going into that nacho cheese would be his fucking face. Like, I would grab him by that Fabio Heath Ledger wannabe fucking male model mop he's got, and I would smash his face into that bowl of cheese with so much authority that it would make a slapping sound like Butterbean just did a belly flop from the high dive. And it would be like the people who are really good hitters in baseball or in football. They say that the core element to it is hitting through. You don't try to hit the person, you hit through them. And so I would be smashing his face not only into the cheese, but through the cheese till it broke the bowl underneath, and hopefully even the D-Bone, get the tables! smash his fucking face through the cheese, through the bowl, through the table. Then he can bring me my phone back to me after he's cleaned it off. And if it's damaged, he is going to be responsible for all costs incurred as a result. Homie don't play that. But he thinks because it's his girlfriend and she's breaking his balls a bit that he can just throw somebody's $1,000 fucking phone into a bowl of cheese. It is slightly less sinister than a liquid, though, because it is solid enough that it's probably not getting into the cracks and crevices. It's just going to be a major bitch to clean off. So that is definitely a job for him. Oh, here's another character who sucks. It's a guy.
We were so getting dry fucked tonight.
What is it with the new generation and tattoos that are just like throwaway? They mean almost nothing. They look like shit. And all over their faces and necks. I do not get it. You better hope that you bank enough cash to last you for the rest of your life doing whatever you're doing, singing, dancing, rapping, because you ain't getting a job. Nobody's paying you to work at their front counter or something with shit all over your face like that. And it's really hard for me to take you seriously as a sane person. Like, I grew up in the 90s. When Mike Tyson got that tattoo on his face, everybody thought he had lost his marbles. Everybody thought he was fucking crazy, like legitimately. He always kind of had that aura. People always thought he was a little off his rocker and a little unhinged. But when he went and got that tattoo around his eye, that tribal fucking, I don't even know. It looks like some kind of storm ship troopers. God damn, I don't know why I was struggling with that. Like fucking eyepiece or something. Anyway, everybody thought he was completely off the tracks. Like they thought that he was going to be locked up in an asylum next. So fast forward like 15, 20 years and it's just commonplace for people who are like 23 to ruin their fucking face with tattoos. I don't get it. I've been chatting up a storm and I ignored that was a fucked up thing. See, Michael didn't fuck with the baby and he leaves this kid alone. He clearly could have messed with this kid. He's scaring him, but he didn't try to hurt him. He's been waiting in the closet for who knows how long. Michael loves coming out of the closet. It's his favorite thing. He dropped a part of the cherry on his overalls and didn't notice. So Michael waited patiently. Been patiently waiting for a track to explode on if you... Anyway. For her to come up and investigate, and he had no qualms about killing her. I wonder if he has like an age limit. Because that other kid's voice was starting to crack. So he had started puberty, he was like 12, 13 maybe. And that's by far the youngest person we've ever seen him actually harm. You do have to consider, though, that in movies 4 and 5, he was pursuing Jamie, who was very young. Like, Michael's just been hanging out in the motherfucking closet for like a half an hour already, or he's very patient. He's got a good sense of timing. He's a great practical joker, I gotta say. This fucking asshole. This is like the cardinal sin that he commits. This isn't his house. This isn't her house. This is the kid's parents' house. So that is presumably this kid's father's, grandfather's, somebody's motorcycle. That is not related to you. That is in no way your motorcycle to fucking sit on and then tip over. Oh. Ah! It's kind of a half-hearted swing he takes at her there. He should have been able to get her. Oof. Slip and the fall. Your floors are waxed. Motherfucker. Oh, did he get her? Her hand's bleeding. I didn't realize that he got her. I've never realized that before. Holy shit. So that kind of like, it looked like when you try to throw a baseball with your left hand. That's how that slash looked. But he did hit her and get her in the hand. I wonder if he's purposely trying to prolong it. No claw marks in the wood. Oh, you're playing it real like that? That knife is way too big for you, Junior. Boom. See, I could have done without the over-the-top doctor kill later, the head stomp where it explodes like a goddamn watermelon. There's the Halloween 3 masks. And I could have done with a little bit more gore, like show us something with her getting stabbed there. Something. Because those are the... I think that it's missing a little bit of that to put it over the top with some people. It needed a little bit more like chaos, fucked up shit going on. But on a realistic level, if that makes sense. Because I'd hate that head stomp. I just hate how over the top it is. It's not... It doesn't play out realistically to me. That he stomps on his face and it just goes... And you're blowing a lot of your gore wad. Because they're only going to let you get away with so much. You're spending a lot of it on that ultimately, I think, sucked. It could have been done more realistically and better where it just looks like, you know, he kind of crushes his face a bit and there's a bunch of blood. It doesn't need to be this... Anywho. Hawkins is like top 2, 3 police characters in the entire franchise. As well. I'm gonna have to take a piss soon. The coffee's getting to me. So he's responding to a domestic disturbance. Lori, of course, has got the police scanner. She knows. She's effectively replaced Loomis as the ultra paranoid person who is basically going to sacrifice their life to pursuing Michael and making sure that he's put away or dead. They can't really sleep until that is accomplished. And I'm wondering if they're going to guide her even more that way in the next one, or how they're going to navigate that, because they effectively removed her as the quote, like, final girl. They're trying to prop up the granddaughter into that position, it seems like. So then Lori would need to be relegated to another kind of position, unless they're just going to straight kill her off. But it seems like they know that they're the most successful with Halloween movies when they contain Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're going to go with that formula until they can't go with it anymore. I don't think they're going to kill her until she says, I'm fucking done. Like they did in Resurrection. Oh. I like how Michael walks away like a kid who just got caught doing something and he's got a scolded dog. He lost all the cool out of his walk. There's no strut whatsoever. It's just like, oh shit, I gotta get the fuck out of here. A goofy ass tattoo. I like when he gets hit here and he's just like, oh fuck. And just keeps moving. My mom's coming. I gotta go to bed. I heard my mom. I gotta go to bed. Bob kills better. It is. I'm gonna have to take a piss, y'all. Listen to the movie for a second. Hey, y'all. Okay. And we are back. My wife, no more get the piss. Not a little kid, you know, I can drink a full glass.
He's no longer dormant. He only knows how to keep moving and to keep killing.
I'm trying to remember where Michael goes after that. Because they end up running into him, literally, later, driving around. But does he go anywhere in the interim? There's a few opportunities for them to kind of go back and fill in some gaps in the franchise. I just don't know how you would do it and align people's expectations ahead of time and let them know what fragment in time they're about to see in an effective way. Because, like, this one, the crime that this one commits is that Michael's been locked up for 40 years. That's 40 years of Michael's life. He could have been killing shit that's just down the tubes, wasted. We know where it's accounted for. But, like, in Halloween H2O, that's supposed to be basically Halloween 3, right? That's supposed to be Halloween 1, Halloween 2, then Halloween H2O.
Did you know our friend
What was Michael doing
was the first
in between when he got blown the fuck up in Halloween 2 and when he finds Laurie at this posh, secluded school in California? How did he, like, what happened to him? What has he been doing for all these years? There's a huge gap there where Michael is effectively unaccounted for. Unless you buy that Halloween 4, 5, and 6 are supposed to happen along the same timeline as H2O. Hear me out. In Halloween 4, they say that Laurie died in a car accident, and that's why Jamie's been adopted. In H2O, she says that she faked her death and moved to start a new life. So it is not outside the realm of possibility that they were trying to imply that these are all on the same timeline. It doesn't exactly work because, like, she just completely gave up her daughter and then had John. Like, it doesn't exactly make sense, but it is, in movie land, it's workable.
From a clinical perspective, doctor, will you say that Laurie Strode has lost her fucking marbles?
There are many ways for tragedy and violence to change a victim.
So if you are playing with those rules, that house money, then I guess you could say that some of that time is accounted for. But you, in theory, could go from when he gets blown up at the hospital, you could pick up right there, and we could follow the journey of Michael from there, the full 20 years up to H2O. We don't know what he's doing.
What's that feeling?
Or after Resurrection, what the fuck happens? See, the ending of Resurrection should have been what they actually did at the beginning of Resurrection. Resurrection should have held off on the death of Laurie until the very end. And when it was over, Michael should have just walked off into the woods outside the hospital, because he and the audience would not know what the fuck his purpose in life is anymore. He would have killed his sister and had no more familial connections to... Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett's career is kind of on the downturn right now. Maybe we can get him back for Halloween 9. I forgot the Hartnett thing. But Resurrection definitely should have ended with Jamie Lee Curtis's death, because we all went into it wanting to see the follow-up to H2O. She gets taken out in the first 5 minutes, and then we get this dumb fuck movie that doesn't make any sense and doesn't add anything to the franchise. At least if we had sat through that and then she died at the end, it would have seemed like we left with it meaning something. It all just felt like highway robbery, like they were just stealing our money and giving it to Busta Rhymes. This has turned into more of just like a general Halloween talk than commentary on this specific movie. My fuck, I can't do anything right. It never turns out the way you think it's going to. I'm learning to just go with it and accept what I produce and live with the consequences or lack thereof. Right now the consequences are that barely anybody watches or listens. If and when that number increases, we'll see if the consequences change. This guy is just reeks of desperation, and he makes it seem like he's been sitting on the sidelines, essentially just lying in wait for her to be single so that he could try to pounce, and makes their friendship seem a little less genuine for him to react that quickly. I had a situation that was somewhat similar. I broke up with a girl, and like a day or two later, she was making out with a guy that I thought was a fairly good friend of mine. I didn't find out about it for a few years, and when I did, I got pretty pissed at him. But I learned to live with it. Him and I have talked and hung out since. But it was a weird, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, were you just hanging around waiting for her to be single? Or what's, I don't... You saw you could capitalize on it? I mean, I know she's cute, but fuck. Then again, he was notorious for doing some, maybe having some maybe less than ethical sex. And I don't mean to imply like anything illegal. It was just like, yeah, I feel like this person's emotionally like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe you should be like calm them down and walk them home or something. But maybe you don't need to fuck them in this instance. He was kind of, that was his gig. He did multiple situations like that. So I guess it kind of makes sense with that character. And she was probably just throwing herself at him. She was a pretty good girl, and I heard she was drinking, which she did like twice the couple years I knew her.
What's up? I'm leaving, right? I don't...
This kid's a dipshit. He tries to pick up on this girl that's way out of his league 10 minutes after she breaks up with her boyfriend, makes an ass out of himself, and then he doesn't even have the sense that God gave a fucking deer to run when there's a perceived threat. You can't smell in the air that he's a carnivore. He isn't giving off the scent of a fucking killer. He doesn't appear somewhat intimidating. This isn't an inherently creepy situation. Come on, you little piglet. Watch right here, he's gonna get killed. And as he slides down, he's gonna impale his own throat on that fence post, and you're gonna see the hot steam rise up. Oh. Now she's gonna run back. They're gonna lock eyes for the first time, and we're gonna get the give in, drop the bombshell, give in, this is out of control. I like it. It's dramatic, it has its effect, but I feel like it should have been shorter and we should have cut into the traditional bump bum 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 bum. I'm just a purist in that way. I feel like there's a reason the original was so fucking good, and the more you veer off course from that, the more you're missing the mark unless you come up with something just truly original. I actually was going to watch The Strangers earlier and do a commentary on that, and I couldn't fucking find my copy of it. I don't know where it is. Somebody must have borrowed it or something. And then I've been thinking about doing Hollow Man. I couldn't find that on any of the streaming platforms that I wouldn't have to pay for it. And I was like, fuck it. I'm of no obligation to do anything, so I'll just watch Halloween 2018 for the second time. Well, no, I've watched it many times, but I'll record a podcast on it for the second time. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to make it look a little more polished up than I did the last one. I feel like I'm a little bit better. The thoughts come out a little smoother. You know, make it better. Give me a word. I guess the end justifies the means, huh, Karen? It's so great that her name's Karen. I wonder if she ever covered any hardwood floors with carpet in the 70s. She definitely rolled up a bunch of towels and put them underneath doors. It's a welder's mask in the kitchen. A blue drum like this is Men at Work and we're storing dead bodies. But as a horror fan who has time to sit back and reflect on things like how would I survive a Michael Myers? What would I do? You can't come up with a much better setup than what she's got here. And she's had 40 years to perfect it. You got to give her credit for her laser focus, too. This is 40 years of eyes on the prize, never losing sight of the goal and the danger at hand.
Accuracy and stopping power.
She's maintained her edge, even though, other than in her own mind, she has faced no adversity, at least on, like, you know, a physical danger level. So here's just Michael walking around with a bloody knife. Oh, so he does go and kill the kid and starts chasing her. But I don't understand why, as smart as Michael is implied to be in so many scenes, why he just stands there and lets this fucking Tahoe run him over. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems so out of character for him to just take it in this way. Now, we've seen him get hit by cars before, but it wasn't in a situation where the car was clear up around the corner, saw him, turned, and had 100 yards straight on, and he made, like, it doesn't play right to me. And it was just that easy for find. It seems like they just kind of wrapped it up too easy there. It seems like that was the point where we could have veered off. If they had known that it was going to be successful and have sequels... God damn it. See, this is like the one part of the movie that I hate. This whole Sartain scene here. I loved Hawkins. He just killed him. We've now got somebody kind of teaming up, defending Michael like a shepherd, so to speak. I hate that concept. And he's going to put the fucking mask on and look like he's about to be a copycat here in a second. And I hate that. So, no good. But what I was beginning to say was, if they had known this was going to be as successful as it was and that they were going to be able to make sequels, it seems like at this point here, they could have veered off into a different lane and wrapped it up later. And that is to say, they didn't have to find Michael so quickly. Michael could have been out in his sandbox playing around a little bit more before we brought him back home to kind of this core group and storyline. But that may have needed to take place over the course of a couple movies. And it seems like they wanted to be able to wrap this one up fairly cleanly. See right here, god damn you, this is sacrilege. And the fact that this Mr. Potato Head looking motherfucker lifts Michael up and puts him in the back of the car. There's also the added element of this scene right here lets us know that the granddaughter, I can't remember what her name is in the movie, she sees Michael here without the mask on. She knows what he looks like unmasked. And then Laurie also knows what he looks like unmasked. So at the very end, some people have said that they think that maybe Michael is driving the truck. That would not be possible because they would have somebody would have recognized his face. It's just they know what he looks like. He wouldn't be able to get the drop on him that way.
I would suspect the notion of being a predator or the fear of
Oh
becoming
shit.
prey keeps both of them alive.
Oh, and he just runs over Hawkins and does him dirty like that. Why do you have your headlights on and shit? Those are gonna burn out with the quickness. See, that guy there made the mask. He designed it and put all the striations, etc. in it.
But your partner, the greatest partner in the world, arrangement with
For you to get a peanut butter and jelly deli sandwich. That rhymed. Sort of. Jelly and deli.
It sounds disgusting. I'm not gonna try that. I brought my...
It was like an ABBA, sort of.
You wanna see what I got?
yeah, I think I'm gonna see the bro.
Ready with this, that
That guy looks like a fairly large man. That looks like
homemade brownie
not even a snack for somebody his size. Yes, that's what my 5-year-old would want to eat. If he could, when he comes home from school, he wants a snack. Preschool. I always say he's in school, but it's preschool. Anyhow, he comes home, he wants a snack. If he could pick his own snack, that's what he would make. And that is about proper portions for what he would eat too, and then still eat dinner later. That is not even close to sufficient nutrients and calories for that guy. This is some beautiful strategery on her part. She's using his curiosity about Michael against him, and she makes it seem like she has the secret. She knows the answer. Convenient that he pulled over just within sight, but far enough away that they can't really make out what's going on. So they know there's some fuckery afoot, but they don't really know what the level of urgency is. Oh, fuck. That would be truly terrifying. You realize he's awake, he's put the mask on, and you are up Schitt's Creek, but it's vengeance time. Thought you could feel these shoes, motherfucker? I'm about to show you how heavy they are. You could never lift these motherfuckers up. It's the kiss-stealing, limousine-riding, wheeling-dealing, jet-riding son of a gun, and he's having a hard time keeping these alligators down. Woo! Sartain definitely deserves a particularly vicious kill based off the egregious offenses he's committed recently in the film. But I just don't like the head smash. Say something. Never, bitch. See, it turns into a bowl of Jello. I don't... Not so much a bowl of Jello as like a mincemeat pie, or... I've never even seen a mincemeat pie. I just picture what I think it would look like. Minced meat in a pie. And you have it. That's it. Don't you guys get annoyed by those strobing, blinding lights? Because everybody else does. How are you immune to that? You're people too. You trying to warn oncoming traffic on this fucking driveway? Somehow his face is still perfectly recognizable through all that. Teleporting Michael. He's been reading a lot of Siegfried and Roy books while he's been in the can. It's not a lot to do in the can. You can work out, you can become someone's bitch, you can read. I am Hula. I am no one's bitch. You are mine.
What are you doing? I thought you said we were safer here.
You never wanted to listen.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
This for a long time.
You want him to come here.
It's got a miniature model of the house.
I'm so sorry, baby.
That's not the same house. Is it? See, this scene here could have been a lot more effective if we didn't know kind of where Michael was heading. He seemed very unconcerned about her. And he was with the cops back over on the driveway still. Oh, the dad's still alive. It's gonna be really of no consequence when he dies. Nobody cares. So see, she's running through the field. We know that Michael's here fucking around with stuff. So we know that she's not in danger. So while she might be scared, we're just like, bitch, you're fine. You're just going for a jog in the woods in improper attire. So the sequence with her that's going to be ongoing would have been better if we didn't know for certain that Michael's nowhere around there. And when she's running through the field of mannequins, it's just not quite as scary as it would be if we thought maybe Michael would be out there, and we've already seen the field of mannequins when Laurie was doing target practice before. That this is the scene that NECA made their Halloween 2018 action figure based off of. It's got the head, the human head jack-o'-lantern, Michael, of course. I think his fingers are blown off, though, which hasn't happened yet. It's going to be interesting what they do with that in the next one, too. I'm hoping that they leave his fingers blown off, because I like my mortal Michael. I like to think that deep down in there he's a person. Makes it scarier for me. Not on some zombie shit. I just don't buy it. That's why I've never liked Jason. Well, I can't say I've never liked Jason. I've always liked Michael more. And it was the mortal aspects of him that made me like him more. Proof is in the pudding, Karen. Can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's a sweet setup, but you don't think that if somebody was trying to find you, they'd walk around and start pushing little buttons? Because there comes a point in time where he knows she's down there and he's trying to figure out how to access it. If he just pushed the button on that thing, what are you going to do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bro, you gotta learn the lyrics. One thing that is good on her part, she's obviously as well prepared for this as you could be, but she hasn't gone through the stress inoculation of trying to perform these tasks in an you know, kind of energized, amplified state with high stakes, with everything on the line. It's all been practice. It's all been pretend. So to be able to perform under pressure, under the gun, no pun intended, and pull it off, that's admirable. It's that clutch time player mode. Fucking stadium. Why didn't you have this on earlier? Were you trying to lure him in? You wanted to wait till you had already fended off one attack before you decided to light up the entire exterior of the house? You could probably see that shit from space. Clark, the little lights, they're not twinkling. And if they're not related, why did he lock on to Andi Matichak the way he did? Just because she was the closest living being that he could try to kill? I guess he wouldn't even know that they were related anyway. He didn't know who the fuck she was. He still got his trigger finger. Shut the fuck up, tough guy. You're gonna bleed to death. Well, you just announced your position with that move. How about some subtlety? How about a little bit of tact? You just gonna shoot the first time you hear a footstep? Compromise our position? Fuck's the matter with you? You know how this dude just like teleports and does weird shit like that? You're gonna give him the jump on us like that? You're gonna open the motherfucking... Bruh. See, she is seeking the resolution to the conflict. She can't stand by and be patient and wait for it. She has to go out and seek him out and figure out this fucking thing. They could have just stayed under there. She could have sat under there all fucking night. And he seems to be playing, he seems to know they're playing this push-pull predator-prey game. Where if he lays off on the predator mode and retreats, the roles are going to reverse, and he can make her pursue him. Look at the preparedness. Bitch got a flashlight in her back pocket. Like she's MacGyver. I was gonna say like she's Miles Davis. That would have made no sense. See, even though they didn't recreate the closet scene there, we all expected them to do, which is still, in a way, another form of like Easter egg fan service. Some disgusting wood paneling in there, Lori. 19 whenever the fuck called and said this wasn't nice then either. Oh, man. Store's closed. Those look like they could sever a limb, too. That's not like some garage door shit where a pop bottle's in the way and it's not going to close. That thing is going down no matter what. Watch your fingers and toes. They got little gaps in there. You could fit like a gun barrel and shoot a motherfucker, but he's not going to be able to like pull you through. It's nice. I like it. I guess we could think that he left the house to come out here and try to get her, but that wouldn't really make any sense. He's got Lori right there. We all know he's got it bad for Lori. He hangs up and he calls right back. So is he aware he's leaving a blood trail? He's got to be. He's got eyes. One of them at least is fucked up, but he can see. Wasn't his left hand the one missing the fingers? Why would he have, if he had turned that direction down the hall, why would he take his left hand and push it across his body and touch the wall? That don't make no motherfucking sense. Yeah, he didn't go that way. It was his left hand. So his left side would be on that wall. Come on, Lori. You're more clever than this. Were you ever going to finish the inside of your house, or is that complete to you? This is your final draft? So this is a recreation of the bedroom where the final scene where he gets shot and flies off the balcony. Kobe time over there. He's good at setting traps for her. When the fuck did he do that? He killed him outside and brought him inside, then went back outside? Or did he take a time out after you hid underneath the kitchen island to run out back and grab the husband's body so he could stuff him in the closet? Because he got the husband right after he moved the cop car, when he was still outside the house. He didn't get in until after Lori blew his hand off, and it's one of those minor details. Probably nobody noticed the continuity issue. Like, at what point did he bring this body in the house? Okay, when she first came into this room, it looked like there was 3 mannequins there and no room to hide. This dude's been in that room with you this whole time and you couldn't tell? It's not that big of a fucking room. That was a pretty human reaction he had there to that pain. I don't know if you want a knife fight with Michael. I think I would gunfight him. I've never seen him use a gun. I've seen him use a lot of knives. Bum, bum, bum. Now watch his reaction here. She says mom and grandma, And he perks up like a dog who just heard treat. So is he reacting to the fact that they're of relations and that's piqued his interest? Or is it just because somebody new has arrived into the picture that he can kill? Because you can see how it plays both ways. And that gave him his momentary lapse in vigilance for Laurie to get up and stroll off, a la him in the original. And now we've got a role reversal again. He is back to being the predator and she is now the prey. She's like the only person he's ever encountered that would occasionally treat him as though he were prey, where the hunter becomes the hunted. Maybe it's like a love-hate thing, and right now he just really loves them. I think a fire poker for him is a much more practical weapon than the crowbar would have been for Faye Dude and Cute Chick Podcaster before. I think it's a little easier to wield, it's probably a little bit lighter, and he's much stronger. I'm going to whisper to you. I'm going to do my tremble cry. I don't even know why I don't know why I am a... Come on, Michael. They don't get the ESPN feed in the state hospital. You haven't been watching World's Strongest Man? You're not a fan of the mountain? Squat down under there and deadlift this bitch the fuck up. I love how just because that's her gun from when she was a kid with her initials carved in it, that makes it the best option of guns sitting there. It's inherently the best because it's the old one that I had before. I mean, I guess there's the nostalgia factor. It's supposed to be like it's coming full circle and she's realizing why her mom prepared her for all this. This is a nice playing possum moment as well. There's some good gaming. Michael's about to play himself right here. She believes her. She doesn't know that this is all for show. Gotcha, motherfucker. Woo! He did the stanky leg when he got hit there. Now this is cornball factor. I fucking hate that. Oh, I hate that. So cheesy. Like, that's up there with having Arnold say, "I'll be back" in every fucking movie that he's in. Or it's like, that was just so cheeseball. Happy Halloween, Michael. Blech. And knocking him down there made sense to me, but maybe not with your daughter and granddaughter down there. Maybe come up with a more strategic solution for that. Oh, I didn't realize that she's kind of the one who saves the day here. He had a hold of her mom, and she grabs that knife, does a little bit of chop suey on his ass, and they manage to, that's some medieval sword shit. Could have got his body stuck in there. Anyway, later on, they seem to hammer home on the fact that she's still holding the knife in her hand. And I hadn't realized that this was the moment she picked it up. So you built this house knowing that one day you were going to eventually blow the whole fucking thing up. Maybe that's why it's so simple and she didn't finish it. Fuck me, right? It's just bye for now. It's only bye for now. There'll be another boat for the mummies and daddies. This one's for the mummies and the children. Just bye for now. And he just looks back at her like a dog staring through the fence, like a shark. He's got like those dead evil eyes. But it reminds me, I've said this in the last one, but it's relevant. Grass cutter ants. There's no individual when it comes to ants. It's task based. They follow chemical orders, and they're just gonna do that until something kills them, basically, until something interferes with them and makes that impossible to do. So there can be a grass fire, and these grass cutter ants, what they do is they climb up a long stem of grass, and they cut them into manageable lengths that can be carried easily, and they drop down to the ground. Other ones pick them up, carry them back to the nest. If there's a grass fire going, they will continue this procedure of cutting and dropping and carrying until their insides boil and they die. They will die doing their job, clear up until the moment they're gone. And that's what Michael staring through that grate reminded me of. Like, he was inconsequential in the matter, or not inconsequential. He wasn't worried about preserving himself. It was all about the goal, and the goal was her. And even though he seemed fucked, it's still going to be all about the goal. See, she shows the close-up of her and the knife, and I don't exactly know what they're trying to imply there. Is this going to have a dramatic effect on her now going forward, and we're going to have kind of a divergence of that team of women? Are Lori and Karen going to be on one page, and Andy Matichak goes a little bit psycho? I've also heard that Michael is breathing there at the end. Obviously, we see that he's not in the room anymore. He's gone somewhere. But I don't think that noise that you hear is breathing. It's not... That's not what you hear. It's flames rushing out of the building. That's what I think anyway. And there's also definitely no way Michael was driving that fucking truck there, because she runs up and looks in the window at the driver before they hop in the back. It's not a mystery. But overall, as I've said, despite the elements of it that I'm hypercritical of, I very much enjoyed this. This is one of my top 3 films in the franchise. If you want to see how I ranked the rest, check out my my channel. It was like 2-3 videos ago. I've also done commentaries on all the other Halloweens. This is actually the second one I've done on this Halloween, if I didn't mention that ad nauseum. You can find me on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, or just Google Avarice Podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, share, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dog to go fuck themselves. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying, be easy.